This damn staircase. It feels like an iconic component of this arc already. Sooner or later that was going to happen, right? All of them kind of separating, going off. Ooh, Knuckle, you gotta back up, man. You don't want to catch a stray. Ooh. Oh my god, it's mangled. Oh. But also distraction tactics as well, right? Perfect for that. It's still risky, man. He's got those eyes. Ooh. The pipe's a real deal. Another one. Yeah, yeah. Ooh. Oh, it's shoot. Ah. Look at this. Whoa. You know, some people perform better under immense pressure, right? Just because. Okay. A bit of a self-handicap. Look at him, man. Look at Shoot. This is your time. Let's go, brother. This right here is a mentality monster. Come on, let's go, Shoot. See, he doesn't have time to overthink it anymore. See, the fists can also kind of function as a decoy. Enough time to, yep. My god. You love to see it. You love to see it. Come on, Shoot. These are his boys. Look at that smile. If y'all make it. Oh. Big old bear hug. He's proud. He's got a bit of a smile on his face there. And FILMBuFF is in the throne room right now. Living Dead Dolls, I like that name. Right, Flutter's got... Deagle. Hold on, hold on. Ah. Oh. Ooh. He separated. That's instinct right there. He's doing it to protect Ikalgo, right? I mean, you know, He's the one who's all about, sticking to the plan, but look at this, right? He saw that his friend could end up in trouble. That's kind of like the God in him, right? This feels like an expression of Killua's unconditional love and support for a friend that he left gone and changed directions to this. Instinct. Split-second instinct. Ooh, look at this.
自身の行動に衝撃を受けるのも当然である。個々の役割を守れと誰よりも厳しく周りに説いた張本人なのだ。
He was militant about that.
キルアの思考は完全に停止した。
Things happen in the field and your emotions can take over.
しかし、
Whoa.
パニックに陥った頭とは裏腹に。
Look at this. Oh, is that CG? I think it might be. It's like muscle memory, right? Through the heads. Ah, here come the claw hands. Ooh. The hearts? Oh my god, it's him. And this could be problematic now. Yeah. Yeah, it's like that sometimes, Killua. But also, I'm sure, he's thankful, but, he stepped in almost kind of questioning Ikago's resolve, but I don't think that's the main, cause here. He just wanted to protect his friend, ultimately. You should have stuck to the plan, Killua. Nothing needs to be said. They both understand. Killua understands. Oh, look at that. He can't even hold eye contact anymore. He knows.
Killua. 貸しだぞ。
Ooh.
我に返って様々な感情が錯綜し
Yeah, now it hit him. That gave him the little kick he needed too. I owe you one. Interesting, given the things they established a couple of episodes ago about friendship. But there is a bit of a speed bump now. Him. Shit. Oh no, oh no.
息を合わせたかのように両側の扉が開き始めた。両の扉から現れたのは
Cheetah, you son of a bitch. How the hell are ya? Play it cool, play it cool. You look like Flutter. You're fine. But there is the one that knows something's up here. Him. Welfin. Interesting that he keeps it to himself though.
早すぎる。兵隊やり2匹が敵を発見した際の警戒音、そして直後の断末、2匹を倒したらしき賊が廊下を引き返すのと、その後フラッタが姿を現すまでの間が、
They should have met each other realistically.
あれでは、
Yeah,
確実に
yeah.
賊と
Oh, this guy.
廊下ですれ違っていなければならない。ならなぜ2匹は殺され、フラッタは殺されなかった。
He hasn't put it together that he's being controlled, but he's close. Alright then. Come on then, FILMBuFF. Talk us through it. Come on, man. Okay, I thought he's saying something else there. Oh god. Think I'm about to get it. I think you know. I think you know. Ah. Look at this. Oh, here it comes. Let it out, let it out. Yeah, yeah. I've come to learn. Oh my god. I love this character.
護衛軍失格のプフよ。次にどこへ行く？見当もつかない。次に向かう場に王がいなければ無能以下のクズですね。いや、無能のプフよ。お前は認めたくないだけ。あの女と一緒にいてほしくない。
I kind of feel a bit of Ava inspiration here in the presentation. Look at this.
自身のみならず王にも及ぶ。
Shalapoof's one-hander. Go on then.
絶対の王が万が一の下賤な人間の身を案じ、自ら下賤な人間
Yeah, he knows. He knew.
あってはならない。
Look at this.
そこにいる。
Raw, snot, tears. Love it.
私はここに来る前から多分それに気
Yeah.
づいていた。
Of course he did.
護衛軍失格なのは王の居場所がわからないからではなく、
You deluded
分
yourself.
かっていながらそこに行かなかったから。
Wow.
さあ、クズ以下の配信者プフ。今からお前はた
A
だの
traitor is lower than scum in his head, in his mind.
故に王にも何も期待してはいけない。ただひたすら王のため、王のため、王のため、王のため、王のため、王のため、王のため、王のため、王のため。
むしろ狂信に
ああ
近いその感
My
じ。
god.
玉座の間に到着してから数秒間、プフの正常な思考を妨げた。
His battle is internal, man. For the most part.
行こう。王の
Wow. Look at this. I love this. Is that the real moral, though? Right? He's known to have shadow puppets of himself.
手虫かい。
Ah.
目もくれず王のとこへってか。どうした？出してもらえますか。
Ah.
いや、出さねえな。
I love the tone, though. Look at this. He's so dejected, but he's like, all right, let's quickly do this, I guess.
スピリチュアルメッセージ。
Now, this is just that ability, right? That I saw the first time I saw him, right? Approach Neferpito. Oh boy, yeah. And they split up as well now, right? That leaves Gon on his own. Though Killua should be able to catch up. It's a man on a mission, man. Look at this. That's right, Gon. That's him. Followed by these legends. Oh, he noticed Gon. I mean, all three of them know Gon standing right there, of course. Look at that. Wow. Little smirk on his face. Whoa. Look at the ink. It's like bleeding.
闘志に火がついた。
Okay, let's get into it. I think it's really quite clear by the end of this episode, or actually even by the beginning of this episode, that the stakes and the premise for the rest of this arc, or for this, concluding phase or the grand finale phase of this arc, all of that has been established at this point. I had a few episodes that are just mind-blowing, incredible, right? Because it's been building and building, and then I got those episodes, right? The payoff. Now, it's kind of like not a reset, but now it's kind of, like I said, the premise and the stakes have been established, right? Now it's about to build up again, episode by episode. And yeah, it makes complete sense. It does. And, like I said in the beginning of the episode, it also makes sense that, now they are splitting up. Even though, of course, it's really, really quite exciting and really just cool to see a collection of characters, established characters, come together and kind of fight together alongside each other, right? That's always a treat in anything, Just think about those moments, those are special moments, really exciting moments and rare moments, It took all that time to build up to this, and now you have all of these characters, fighting side by side, right? And again, those moments of all of those characters inside of the apartment complex rooms, and then of course exiting, and then scoping out the castle or the palace from a distance. Those shots, to me, those are some of the most memorable moments of this arc. Just having these characters together. But yeah, after a few really exciting episodes, payoff episodes, bombastic entrances, and all of that, ultimately things have kind of settled down now. And again, the term "settle down" is kind of relative, right? Because there's still some really insane things at play here. But in comparison, yeah, things have kind of settled down a bit now, right? The royal guards are successfully separated from the king. Now it's a situation that almost kind of fell in their lap as well, because the king is just choosing to walk out of there. And I saw a glimpse of the king, and of course Zeno and the chairman right at the conclusion there. Isn't it kind of insane to think about this? Gon finally kind of gets to see the king. And the thing is, it's not something I've been kind of, been excited about or, even expecting really, right? But it happened. And, it just kind of made me think about, the stakes of this and just the roles in all of this. And I think, I touched up on this episodes ago at this point. Gon and Killua are not meant to be, in the spotlight. At least, in terms of Meruem, in terms of the king and handling the king and, that threat. Perceived threat, at least from this side, the extermination squad. But yeah, Gon finally sees him in the flesh, at a distance, of course, even though, like I said, all three of them know that there's someone standing right there. They don't even have to actually look at him, they can just probably sense him. Though of course you get a bit of a reaction out of the chairman, Metro, who kind of points him into the right direction. But yeah, Gon finally gets to see this threat, the Chimera and King, and he gets to see who actually is meant to be kind of dealing with that situation, right? Handling that situation, right? Or at least attempting to handle that situation. That's not Gon's job, right? He's got other plans. He's dialed in. And I'm not saying that Gon has a choice in this anyways, because Gon should be nowhere close to the king, nor should Killua. And, speaking of Killua, if he didn't end up making that decision to, change his course of action in a split moment, right? Instincts kicking in, he would have been standing beside Gon and he would have seen his grandpa, right? I mean, he knows, he's pretty sure his grandpa's here. I mean, he's pretty much 100% sure his grandpa is here, but, to see him again in the flesh right there, standing there, it could have a bit of an impact on Killua as well, right? For the rest of the arc, right? It's a family member. It's a respected family member. It's one of the strongest, one of the most important Zoldycks at that, right? Alongside Silva. So, to actually see him there, that could have done something for Killua, right? But again, it's all a matter of choices, split-second choices that can change the direction of, someone's path, right? The immediate path, at least. Now, that being said, they made it clear that Killua is already heading back. And of course, I'll touch upon that whole segment, right? The Ikalgo and Killua scene. Most likely he'll catch up, but since Meruem, Zeno, and the chairman are on the move, Killua might miss them. First of all, it's another enjoyable episode, really engaging episode. I mean, you've got the shoot segments, you've got the FILMBuFF segments, you've got the Killua and Ikalgo moment, right? Out of character moments for Killua, but not necessarily a bad thing, but it is out of character. And you see that he's a little bit shocked about it as well once he does kind of come to. Once Ikalgo kind of helps him come to. Again, I'll touch up on all of these segments, but kind of going through the episode and the standout moments. Of course, there's that moment at the end there, the chairman pointing Gon into the right direction, right? Takes a few moments to assess Gon, and then he points him into the right direction. He's got a bit of a smirk on his face as well. And then the actual final moments, Gon's mental state. And of course, the narrator confirms to us that, he's raring to go. I mean, that much is clear, really quite clear. That kind of reminds me of the really unique production side of things as well in this arc. The art style changes. Or the approaches every now and then, be it the depiction of Neferpito a couple of episodes ago during the Dragon Dive segment, be it, again, Killua that art style change during the, Ikago Killua scene. And then, of course, right at the end there, you see the art style for Gon, right? As he's really quite dialed in. This is it. I've been speaking of this, and I've been talking about Gon's mental state, and yeah, it appears to be just the case, right? And this idea of the bleeding ink, I really, really like that approach there, because it's just so, I don't know, right there is all you really need. You don't need anything. You don't even need the narrator to tell you anything. You look at that segment, that, piece of animation there, as the ink is kind of bleeding out. To me, that depiction really kind of looked like something that's losing its structural integrity, right? The ink is just flying off, it's bleeding. And then, of course, I get those iconic still frames right at the end there. And then, of course, let's not forget the look in Gon's eyes at that point. This is as dialed in as someone can get. He knows it's close now. He knows it's close because, someone of authority has told him exactly the location of the person he's after. And yeah, I'm on it right now, so let's kind of stay on it. He's not about to approach Neferpito in the middle of a combat situation, right? A couple of episodes ago, I speculated that, okay, if that is the case, if he is to come across Neferpito in a combat situation, he's not going to hesitate, right? This is around the time Killua's telling him that he's got to focus on just his target, and that's Neferpito. And I believe I said that's not going to be an issue, right? He's going to launch in the moment he sees Neferpito. But, I assumed they might come across Neferpito in a combat situation or scenario, but that's not the case here. Things have changed quite a bit since then. He's about to come across Neferpito under a new directive. She has a new directive, right? A directive that she is not going to deviate from. This is a special thing. There's a special moment that she had a couple of episodes ago, right? A tearful Neferpito after, that request from her king, after that connection that she kind of felt, right? She's not going to do anything to endanger Komugi. It's just simply not going to happen. She's not going to, all of a sudden just give up on that and then, lock in and, go after Gon or, retaliate or see him coming and then, immediately lunge at him. I just don't see that happening. So that whole situation makes for a really unique, incoming encounter. But from both perspectives. Now, if you try to speculate it from Gon's angle or look at it from Gon's angle, he's going to walk in on Neferpito busy in the middle of her new directive, right? He's going to pick up on it. Right, they all know that her N is just missing again. So he's going to see that Neferpito is healing Komugi, right? And again, I'm expecting her to continue on that path, on that directive, even if she does see Gon come in. So that is going to be interesting, how exactly Gon is going to approach this. Because, let's not forget, at the end of the day, Gon still believes that he can bring Kite back, right? He can bring him back to normal. Right now, of course, to do so, in his mind at least, you're going to need someone like Neferpito, the one who caused this in the first place, right? So there's that angle, right? He's going to ask her. He's going to ask her about it, or rather, he's going to demand answers, right? It's beyond asking nicely or anything. That's not a possibility at all. Him actually being nice about this. But that being said, I think I'm equally as excited, or maybe even a little bit more excited about Neferpito's approach to this, her reaction to coming across Gon or Gon coming across them. But also, I kind of forgot to mention a big component of this. Not only is Gon going to see Neferpito, he is going to see Komugi, right? And she's going to be injured. He's going to see an injured Komugi being cared for. But, like I stated a couple of episodes ago, I really don't believe that it's going to be an issue for Gon. Not at this stage of it, especially as they reiterate his state of mind right at the end of this episode. That's as fierce and terrifying and scary as Gon's ever looked in this anime, right? There's been a few occasions, but, that right there is right up there, right? Alongside, that little trade-off against Moral, who kind of eggs him on to show him his resolve, right? That was kind of the beginning of it all. Really completely understanding, okay, Gon's dialed in. This is it. Once he comes across Neferpito, it's not going to be pleasant, is it? And, you know, like I said, I've been saying it since episode 85. You know, that was put on hold. It was put on pause, right? Killua knocking him out. So this is it, you know. I'm finally about to see Gon come across Neferpito since then. Since seeing her attack his mentor, his father figure, someone he cared for in a really short amount of time as well. Though, of course, you know, there's history there. But let me kind of go back a bit to the chairman, you know, kind of immediately assessing Gon and then pointing him into the right direction. And again, bit of a smirk on his face as he does it. You know, it's subtle, but there's a slight movement there, isn't there? Yeah, you know, my read on the situation is that, okay, you know, does he feel that Gon is ready? Did he feel that Gon is ready for this? You know, can he understand Gon's resolve, right? I think he has, right? He completely understood that Gon is ready for this. You know, he understood his resolve and he essentially kind of signs off on it. And to me, you know, it kind of really felt like the chairman feels and understands just how much Gon wants this, right? And is happy that Gon is truly committed to this, right? I think he can respect that. I think the chairman can most definitely respect resolve, right? And he respected Gon to make that choice, to make his choices from that point on. And he, you know, points him in the right direction. Now, of course, you know, you know, the chairman, of course, he didn't want to attack Meruem or lunge in, you know, at that moment alongside Zeno because of the injured civilian, right? He's certainly above that. He knew, he understood. You know, that's not the move here. But now you have Gon who's heading into that direction. He sent Gon into that direction. Listen, ultimately Gon would have found them, I think. But, you know, I think it's important that, you know, the chairman is the one who points him into that direction. Again, you know, almost kind of like signing off on it. Understanding or, you know, feeling that, okay, you know, I can respect his resolve. He's ready. He's committed to this. Let him have his chance. Let him have a go, right? But now, you know, you see that indirectly, he understands that, you know, there's a possibility that, you know, the civilian in there could be in danger if Gon goes in there and things kind of take off, right? Given, you know, the volcano that's building and building within Gon at this point. Because the aura, the energy that's emanating from Gon at that point is just vicious, isn't it? It's terrifying. So, of course, you just kind of expect anyone to pick up on it. But yeah, it's quite the setup, isn't it? To finally kind of have that reunion in this next episode. Gon and Neferpito, right? And then, of course, his intentions of, you know, getting her to fix Kite, right? Because, again, he still believes Kite is fixable. But, you know, I don't want to speculate too much on that just yet. You know, let's kind of get to the scene itself first. But, you know, imagine if that is the case and he comes to understand that, okay, no, you know, she can't fix Kite, right? You know, fixing Komugi or, you know, healing Komugi or fixing the king's arm, right? That surgery to reattach the arm, that's a different story. You know, Kite died. Kite legitimately died and he was brought back, you know, reanimated. And again, you know, there's this whole thing all that time ago. Neferpito herself understood that this is not the same person she fought All Might. Right? You know, remember, she's really quite dejected on that sofa as, you know, he's being used to train some of those soldiers. And yeah, she's just really not into it. It's been clear since then that, you know, this is not the same Kite. And she understood that. Now it's going to be Gon's turn to understand that at some point. You really truly fear for Gon's mental state. Upon truly understanding that, no, Kite is gone. You know, you have to understand this. He's gone. He'll never be that Kite again. But yeah, you know, let's kind of put a pin in that for now and see how it all plays out. You know, I'm excited. You know, the reunion is here. Gon and Neferpito next episode. But yeah, let's shift the focus to some of the other stuff. Some of the standout stuff, I'd say, you know, stuff like the segments of FILMBuFF and Shoot. You know, for me at least, you know, some of the standout stuff to see the focus on them. Listen, folks, I'll be honest. I think, you know, some of these FILMBuFF segments are some of the best, some of the most engaging, you know, just interesting and fascinating components of this arc. And I really love and appreciate that, you know, in the middle of this, you know, intense showdown, you know, these encounters you can have, or Togashi made the choice to approach FILMBuFF's segments in this manner. You know, these one-handers, you know, the theatrics, the performative, internal struggle of FILMBuFF. FILMBuFF is an artist. He is, right? He's an obsessive. He has this, you know, specific visions, and he agonizes over it. right? Constantly. And these sessions with him as he, struggles to reconcile, the clash between reality and his ideals. I mean, again, it's just fascinating stuff. It really is. I mean, he really is a captive of his own identity, isn't he? Right? Living in a prison of his own creation, right? Plagued by, inadequacies of failure. And, his insanity, his overthinking, him agonizing, right? Full of tears and snot, and damning self-assessment, right? Fanaticism, all of that. It's just gripping stuff. It's captivating stuff, right? And again, like I said, to put that into this arc, this phase of the arc, it's a brilliant choice. I think it really is. It's certainly, I think, quite a daring choice, but I think it's quite the effective choice at that. And the thing is, the damning self-assessment also applies kind of indirectly to the king as well. I mean, you have the narrator essentially saying that his emotions are directed at the king as well as himself. So he'll be saying things like, it's unforgivable, right? That an absolute king is feeling concern for a lowly human, right? Again, really damning self-assessment of his own human, nature. It's there, FILMBuFF. It's there. It's within you. And, ultimately, it's all quite a mindfuck for someone like FILMBuFF, again, given how intrinsically linked the king's identity is, right? The really specific identity of a king is, to FILMBuFF's own identity. Because, if there's no king to serve, he's lower than scum, right? I believe he said something along those lines. If there's no king, there's no FILMBuFF, because if FILMBuFF is around, it's to serve the king, the ultimate, the absolute king, the ideal king in his mind. And he, like I said, he's struggling to reconcile reality with his own ideals. And it makes for fascinating television, doesn't it? And even this idea of him, choosing to go to the throne room, even though he ultimately knew, as he finally kind of, admits to himself, right? Like I said, he was deluding himself into, maybe kind of hoping, just kind of latching onto that tiny bit of hope that, oh, okay, the king might be there. The king might be in the throne room, But no, he gets in there and then he immediately understands. Yeah, he's not here. I know he's in the other room. I mean, you can see he just doesn't want to, face that sight. He can't stomach it. To see the king showing concern for this woman or continuing to show concern for this woman. Just the thought of it is really, really tearing him up inside. But yeah, by the end of it, there's set up for another encounter, Moral and FILMBuFF. You see, he's really quite dejected and, reluctant about it, but he's going through with it, right? And let's kind of focus on this ability, right? Spiritual message. Now, I've kind of been assuming that this is just that ability that he has, right? That he can kind of read a person's state of mind or mental state. On his first appearance, he does it with, one of his siblings, Neferpito. But, the depiction of it is really, really quite different, isn't it? So maybe it's not the exact same ability. I mean, this time, it looked more like him being above that crowd, above the palace and, the little specks, the glitter, the dust from his wings, right? Specks of his wings, kind of hypnotizing them and all of that, right? So this has more of the same, visual approach or look. So maybe it's something else and it's not that ability that I am thinking of. Right? Him just kind of understanding someone's state of mind at any given moment. Because, a couple of episodes ago, this is the ability he tried using on the king. Or not tried. He contemplated using it, right? But he thought that would be, crossing a line. That would be disrespectful. And ultimately, he didn't really want that answer, did he? Right? Just like how he didn't want to go into the throne room. Sorry, not into the throne room, into the other room. Because he just couldn't stomach it. He didn't want to see it. But yeah, I'll get to see the ability soon enough. It's all set up nicely for the Moral and FILMBuFF showdown. And let's see how Moral reacts to it, right? Moral, who kind of had to get out of that area, right? The staircase area. And of course, that area has been left to Shoot and Knuckle and Melioron, right? And I just loved seeing how proud he was of these two, of his boys, of his students, right? They're right in the middle of it, of the grandest, the toughest challenge they're ever going to have, right? And they're essentially exceeding all expectations, right? They're excelling under pressure. Shoot specifically is just having a moment, a big character moment, You know, us, the audience, is getting to experience a person, a character, go through a phase of their metamorphosis under immense pressure, right? And it turns out that Shoot is the type of person who excels under immense pressure. You give him time to overthink it. You give him a situation that isn't, you know, as high stakes, perhaps. You know, you think of him having to jump on Gon and Killua, right? He couldn't do it. He's just kind of stuck in his own mind. But here, in this situation against Montezuma, it's do or die, right? This is the ultimate challenge. And that ultimate challenge gets him to dig deep. Like I said, you know, us as an audience is kind of getting to see Shoot, you know, discover new parts of himself on the screen for the first time, right? Developing abilities that can be considered his ultimate abilities, right? And how cool does he look? You just feel that swagger, right? You know, I stated at one point that this is the mentality monster. You know, it's a term that Jurgen Klopp uses quite a bit. You know, he believed in that statement, that sentiment quite a bit. You know, that under immense pressure, you know, in the face of the highest of stakes, you're able to be that mentality monster, that you're able to stay locked in, right? And deliver. And not just deliver, but deliver some of your best, right? You know, I'm sure many of you are football fans, soccer fans here in North America. You know, Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp has had those moments. You know, you think of Barcelona in the Champions League, the 4-0 corner taken quickly. Everyone knows that. But, you know, the performance itself was worthy of being called, you know, mentality monsters. And then, of course, you know, there's many other examples, you know, entire runs to the Premier League title and Champions League as well. High stakes and, you know, desperate situations they can have, or they can tend to have, breakthrough moments, breakout moments, right? Moment of clarity. All of that is present here in Shoot, right? It's just so beautiful to see it all, isn't it? You know, I was proud. You know, I'm cheering him on. I'm happy to see it. But, you know, the thing is, that being said, it's still Montezuma. It's still Montezuma. So let's see how much longer Shoot can keep this up, right? But yeah, you know, up until this point, he is excelling. I mean, the man is feeling such confidence that, you know, he even kind of introduces a bit of a self-handicap, right? Covers up his eye. I mean, listen, you know, at the most basic level, it looks cool as fuck. It just does, right? The rule of cool, right? Just because. But, you know, it just really, truly feels like he's going from strength to strength. And he just kind of, you know, introduces that because he feels like he'll perform even better, right? Listen, you know, I know, you know, there's a whole idea of introducing, you know, stipulations or certain conditions. I don't think this is one of those things, you know, because it's such a split second character moment, right? But, you know, that right there is indicative of his confidence at the moment, right? Of who Shoot is in the moment. And then finally, to end it off, let's focus on Killua and, you know, his out of character moment, right? And then, you know, the connotations of it, the fallout of it, the aftermath of it, the things it means for that friendship, you know, Ikago and Killua. I owe you one, right? I thought that was really interesting. I wasn't expecting to see that or hear that. I really truly felt that, you know, nothing's going to be stated because they both kind of understood the things that transpired here. I mean, ultimately, Ikago helps him kind of, you know, come to because he's a little bit out of it at the moment, a little bit dazed, still a little bit, you know, confused about his, you know, split second decision, you know, to go off, you know, off road essentially, right? To go off the plan, right? Given how militant he was about staying, you know, true to your own plan and the path ahead that's been laid out for you. Yet, you know, at the first moment, you know, this instinct kicks in to protect his new friend, right? And, you know, it's not just a new friend. This is a full-on proper friend at this time. You know, that's a reaction that came out of Killua the moment he realized that Ikago could run into trouble, right? Momentarily. And he makes a split-second decision, leaves Gon, and, you know, makes a choice to go there and take care of this. So Ikago doesn't run into any issues. Now, listen, you know, there's a few readings of this, you know, different elements to this. And you see Killua is a little bit not ashamed at one point, right? He's not able to hold eye contact for perhaps a few different reasons. You know, one of them being, listen, ultimately, he should have let Ikago take care of the situation, to trust his friends resolve, much like how Shoot and Killua tell Gon to, you know, trust, oh my God, I'm kind of blanking the name right now. Palm's resolve, right? To respect it, You know, to do anything else, to go after her, to check in on her would be insulting to her resolve, right? That's the sentiment. But here you have Killua taking it upon himself to go take care of this because, you know, he, again, ultimately, I do think it's just out of concern for his friend. He wants to protect him, and he doesn't want him to run into any issues or problems. But yeah, ultimately, you know, he does understand once he comes to that, yeah, you know, I did something that I was completely against, right? I didn't trust my friend's resolve. But it's such an out of character moment for him that it takes him a bit to really kind of understand it. And it took some help from Ikalgo to understand it, right? Him saying, I owe you one, kind of serves as this, you know, again, a wake-up call, gives him a bit of a kick, right? To kind of, you know, get back into the zone. And then he truly understands, oh, why, you know, I essentially, you know, did this to protect Ikalgo. You know, I kind of overlooked everything and changed my plan of action at that moment for this, you know, for a friend, you know, and it hits him. But I think ultimately, you know, him saying I owe you one is for that purpose, to, you know, again, to wake him up, to help him realize, you know, you did it as a friend, you know, because he could read it in his face that he's really quite confused at the moment, really confused. And he helps him understand, you know, it's okay. Let's get back into the game. Because I do think it would have been a little bit counterproductive if, you know, Ikalgo is legitimately just, you know, kind of thanking him once again, given how, you know, they set that up a few episodes ago. You know, that's not how friendships are. That's not how they function. You don't need to thank each other, right? At least that's Killua's belief. Yeah, you have Ikalgo here saying, I owe you one. But then speaking of connotations, you know, this little incident, you know, the switch and all of that, you've got Detective Dolphin in the shadows taking it all in. And now he knows that there is something up there. Something's going on with Flutter at the most basic level, right? He hasn't really deduced that, okay, Flutter's actually being controlled at this point. But, you know, he knows. He knows at this point that, okay, you know, there's something suspicious going on here. That, you know, Flutter through perhaps Leo, who he doesn't know has died already. Perhaps there's been a change of plans, a change of heart, you know, a few traitors, perhaps. But, you know, even at this point, you know, Welfin still feels like he's doing most things for himself. He keeps it to himself. He's studying the situation, you know, assessing it, letting it play out. You know, again, the setup that he wants to be the king behind the scenes. So he's got his own agenda. So he's kind of doing everything for himself. I like it. You know, I like this character. I'm excited to see how it plays out and his role in the rest of this. But, you know, like I said, you know, ultimately, it really truly felt like Killua's unconditional loyalty, right? An expression of his love and support for a friend, you know, but again, you know, that idea of him not immediately understanding, you know, the reasoning behind it, you know, why he reacted in that manner. It's, you know, again, it's a bit of a breakthrough moment for Killua as a character as well, right? Because now he's able to care in this capacity, in this manner, for someone else other than Gon, right? Someone else other than Gon matters to him this much that he'll do that, right? At a moment's notice, in a split second. So yeah, you know, a lot of interesting stuff at play here. But hopefully he can catch up to Gon. But yeah, I think that should do it for this one, folks. If you enjoyed that, consider dropping a like, consider dropping some comments, give me your thoughts. If you are interested in early access or timer-based full length or full opacity, consider checking out the Patreon page. The links are in the description and the pinned comment. Also links to social media if that's your thing. Right then, thank you so much for joining me, folks, and thank you for your time, because time is precious. It really is. And I do hope to see you again soon for the next one. Until then, take it easy.